Hello, good evening and welcome to the United Stand. What a jam-packed show we've got in store for you tonight, and it's the Skype show, so God knows what sort of calls we're going to get. I can't wait, hopefully some really passionate ones, but let's start off with a few topics just to get you in the mood. José Mourinho has given an interview to Telly Radio Stereo and he has said, I congratulate Juventus for this Ronaldo coup. Not just a footballing decision, but a marketing and merchandising one as well. The complete transfer. Ronaldo also interviewed. He's been officially unveiled as a Juventus player today. He was asked a direct question: were Juventus the only club that were in for you? Sí, that means yes in Spanish. He is definitely Juventus were definitely the only club in for Ronaldo. Mourinho there himself saying Ronaldo's the complete transfer. I think we can figure out a couple of things there from that. Mourinho wanted Ronaldo. Ronaldo didn't even have the option of coming to Manchester United. Who made that decision? The board again. It will be the board again. And maybe Mourinho is paying the price for bringing in people like Alexis Sánchez, and there is no money being afforded to him for Ronaldo. But very disappointing from a fan perspective. For some fans, I just think we should have tried to get Ronaldo, and it would have been absolutely fantastic if we had got hold of him. But we haven't. And I think some of us, me included, I did want to know the answer to this question, so I was looking forward to Ronaldo being asked about it, and he said Juventus the only club, and I'm glad that Mourinho never says something without having a background meaning to it. Perisic this week, I think he made it abundantly clear he wanted him, he didn't get him, and I think he's made it abundantly clear here that he wasn't the one who didn't want Ronaldo. It must be the board. The board didn't want to do it, and are we surprised anymore by the board? However, what I do want to say is about Gareth Bale. Spoke about him this morning on the transfer show. There is some silly rumour going around that Paddy Crerand has said that we're going to get a Welsh number 10. There is no evidence of that at all. I think it's a load of nonsense. But I think Manchester United will sign Gareth Bale. And you know why? Because there's been stories going around today saying that Bale's back in training and they are going to use him to replace Ronaldo and he's happy to stay. But I think that Real Madrid are going to go and sign two players from Neymar, Mbappe, Hazard and probably somebody else. And I think Bale will leave. I think Bale will leave Real Madrid and he will come to Manchester United. Whether that's right or wrong, I'm not going to say, because at the end of the day, Manchester United have put their eggs into one basket if they're after Bale, because if he decides he's staying at Real Madrid, we're left cap in hand, idiotically begging. And also we know that Bale will stay at Real Madrid if they want him to stay, and United should have other plans. I personally think Leon Bailey, Christian Pulisic, there's some really good, talented future Gareth Bales out there that we should be going for, even bloody Martial, our own player. But I think we're going to get Bale, and I still think we're going to get Sandro as well. You know what? I may be absolutely naive, but I'm just pinning my hopes on us getting those two players because I think that they are really, really important to us. Alexis Sánchez is not on the tour, not because he's having a longer break, but because there's an issue with his visa because of the suspended sentence he got. So he will be going out on the US tour at some point, but that's holding him up a little bit. So you might want to talk about that. Also, I'd be interested to see what people have got to say about Luke Shaw, actually, because the situation with Luke Shaw is being reported today that we sort of touched on a little bit last night, that Luke Shaw can go for free next summer. He can go for free next summer because he's already signed the 1-year extension that we have on a lot of Manchester United players this year. So next summer he goes for free. We can't keep him unless he signs a new contract. And the story coming out is that Luke Shaw isn't going to leave this summer. He doesn't want to. He's happy to stay at Manchester United for another year, and if he doesn't get used, he can go for free next summer at 24, and he'll go for very, very good money. The same situation that Arsenal had with Sanchez, effectively. So, I mean, what do you think about that? I mean, there's two sides, I suppose. You could say bloody Luke Shaw's playing us, and that's annoying, or you could say this is what you get when you treat players badly, that they're not going to help the club. He may refuse any contract because he's not going to get to play. He may refuse to leave. So he might be happy just to sit back for a year and collect his money and go for free next summer. It's an interesting one as well. Anyway, I want to take some of your calls. So it's Skype Goldbridge, all one word. Give us some of your calls. Lots and lots to talk about. Paul Pogba to Barcelona is starting up again. Apparently he doesn't want another joyless season in Manchester in the Premier League, and Riola's offering him out to Barcelona, but Barcelona don't want him because they want somebody who's better on the ball. Let's see what happens with that. But give us your thoughts. What are your thoughts at the moment around Manchester United, around the transfer news? We're out in America now. US tour. My personal feelings about it are that we are obviously on the tour, but what's the situation with Manchester United in this tour? What are we going to learn from this tour? Shaw should just come out, says Mini Diver. Sanchez waiting for his visa, says Solid Gold Stan. Both our left backs have 1 year left, says MMA News. We should get Mbappe. I'm fed up of people saying about Mbappe. What on earth do you think that Kylian Mbappe is going to come and play for Manchester United? A 19-year-old World Cup winner who wants to develop. Why would he come? We've got one caller. I've been waiting. We've got one caller. This is the only person calling, so I'm going to take that call now. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello?
Hello, who's that?
Hello? You alright?
I'm good, thanks.
One
you.
second. Hello? Hello?
Yeah, you're live.
Yes, I can hear you.
What do you want to talk about, mate?
Well, what I'd have to say is Mourinho's got to shake it up.
You think it's Jose's fault that we're not getting the business done?
Well, I'm not even just talking about the business. I'm talking about the way that we play football. It's got to change.
Do you think it will?
I think it's got to, or else he's going to go. I think he's going to go if he doesn't sort it out.
So what's your feeling at the moment? We're 3 weeks away from the first game of the season. And what are your thoughts about next season? Are you confident that we're going to do well? Have you seen any progress over the summer with Fred and the coaching staff? Are you excited about the new season, or are you expecting some excitement in the next few weeks of this transfer window?
No, I am excited because I've watched the first couple of training sessions, and United look like they're doing things a little bit different. We'll have to wait and see, but I'm just hoping that he changes the style of football. I think the World Cup's shown, and obviously you can't take for granted what you see in the World Cup, but the World Cup's shown attacking wins. You have to attack, and if you've got the players like United have got, people like Rashford, like you look at Rashford in the World Cup, and you look at Mbappe just looks like he's free to just go and do whatever he wants, where Rashford just looks like every time he gets the ball, like when Rashford first started for United, he used to grab the ball and drive at the defence. Rashford doesn't do that no more. He always passes the ball back and tries to run into space to get the ball again. Like I was saying, he needs to drive at defenders again. Defenders ain't scared of Rashford no more, and that's what he needs to do.
I think that's a great point, actually. I mean, it's not something I've thought about for a while, but you're right. I mean, so many of our players over the last year, especially these flair players that, Martial doesn't really take people on anymore. Lingard doesn't. Rashford doesn't. It's always this stop and play a pass, which we know that's slow, lethargic football. As you just said there, the way of playing football at the moment is fast attacking football. It's going to be really interesting to see if Jose will do it. Do you think he will, or do you think he'll just stick to the way that he's always done it?
I think he still will be a little bit pragmatic, but I think the fans are gonna win. I think the fans are gonna beat him on this one. He needs to change the way he plays football. We've had 2 years of his defensive, pragmatic stuff, and he hasn't won. Well, we won the Europa League, but that was the first year. But last year, it didn't do anything. So he has to change his approach. And I'm one for always turning around and saying there's nobody that can do better than what Jose's doing at the moment. But you look at certain other teams that are just playing a bit better football and probably not even spending the same amount of money as what we are. Now I think he has to come correct. We've got the defensive side of things sorted. Now it's time to attack.
Great. Thanks for opening the call, Darren, and I totally agree with you. Good call.
All right, thanks a lot. All right, Mark.
Cheers, pal. I tell you what, I do agree with Darren. I think that if he doesn't change the way he's going to play, then we will have problems next season with the fans, especially those at the ground, because they're just not going to sit back and have it. They just won't. Hello, Mark. Can you hear me?
How you doing, Mark? All right?
Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. You?
Not so bad. Not so bad. No time, no speech.
Yeah. What was it you wanted to talk about tonight?
There was an interview a little while ago that Mourinho made. I can't believe it is. I think it was MTC or Sky. And the point I was just trying to make with it is that Mourinho came out and said when he coached Real Madrid, he came out and said that he still holds the record for most amount of goals scored in a season, and he still has the highest amount of points in La Liga from his team that he had. Now, admittedly, that was a world-class team, and we've seen them go on and win the Champions League 3 times further on from then. But the point that Mourinho was making is then he had the squad to do exactly that. And I think what he's intimating there is he just doesn't have the squad to do what he's doing. So he's playing his pragmatic football to go along with the fact of, look, I don't have the players to do what I did at Real Madrid. If you want me to play the football style, I can play that football style and I can do what I need to do, but you need to give me what I need. And the board is not giving him what I need. And I think I've phoned it 2 or 3 times, and every time we've agreed, the board don't back Jose. They're money orientated, they're greedy bastards sitting at the top, wanting the money, and they're not willing to put it down. And they've shown for the last 2 or 3 seasons now that unless it's going really, really bad for United, they're not interested in paying out. They're not. They just want to do whatever they want to do, and they want to take the money. And I think all the time that we're sitting pretty first, second, third or fourth, they won't do anything. They're quite happy to sit where we are. I don't understand why. United should be leading the top of that Premier League without a shadow of a doubt. And I remember the days of Keane, Beckham, Scholes and all the rest of them that used to flood in there. And that's where we need to get back to. And we're never going to get that with the board that we've got now. We're just not going to do it. It's not going to happen. And I don't think it's Jose's fault either. Because last year he said last year, I wanted Perisic. Look at Perisic in the World Cup. He's demolished teams, single-handedly taken the left line down to his back. And even when he goes down the right, he single-handedly takes them. He said last year, I want this player. He will improve us. No, you're not having him.
Kean McKinley says Jose has to play with a mediocre squad that we have, which is right. And just to interject there and sort of throw something back at you, because I think Jose's in a difficult place. I mean, I said this on Saturday when I was having a bit of a rant about the board for the first time in months, and I said that do people really think that Jose Mourinho wants to play Phil Jones and Fellaini in his team? Does he really? If you look through Mourinho's career, like you said, at Real Madrid, at Inter Milan, at Chelsea, when has he ever used crap centre-backs and a target man like Fellaini? I think he uses them because of their attitude is better than a lot of the attitude, like i.e. they run through brick walls. But I would imagine, I mean, he's in such a difficult situation. I'd like to get your opinion on this, Mark, because he's in such a difficult situation because he's basically lost the fans because of the way he's playing football. So he can't, like Ferguson could always lean on the fans, and he knows how to play the fans, Sir Alex. But Mourinho's a bit of an island, and he doesn't play the fans, so he hasn't got them in his pocket. But he's having to do it with all these players. He goes to the board and says, if you want me to win things, you need to spend money. And I agree. I think the board say, well, actually, you finished second. That's quite good, Jose. I mean, Mourinho said it himself before the semi-final against Spurs that he'd already had a phone call from Ed Woodward to say, even if we lose that semi-final, we've had a good season. And that shows you, basically, the problem is the board, not Manchester United fans, just fans of money.
A good season, getting through to the semi-finals of the FA Cup and coming second in the Premier League. What a load of crap. United should be winning. But the money
churns in, doesn't it? And that's the problem. We know it's not good, but we've got poor owners. Rich owners, bad owners.
you know what? It's the issue is that no matter what we do, United fans will keep on ploughing money into the club, left, right and centre, year after year, year after year.
Well, I will. You will, I presume. I can't help it, can you?
Of course. Of course, but wouldn't it be nice if all the fans just turned around for 1 year and went, no, Sodja, we ain't going to pay you no money this year. We're not going to support anything that you do, and see exactly what happens. See what the money board at the top say. If United fans all around the world turn around and say, no, give us what we want, pay the money for the transfers, let's get our club back to where we belong, playing the gold standard, the Premier standard, not this half-hearted crap that we've got at the minute. And I'm not saying the players that we've got are crap, because some of the players that we've got are very, very good. And I look at Lukaku, he could score more goals if he got the right ball across. Perisic down that left-hand line would feed Lukaku day in, day out, and he'd probably get 25 plus goals every season in the Premier League. I have no fear of that whatsoever. Let's try Pogba this season out on the right, where he's been playing on the World Cup. We've got Fred there now. Let's see what Fred can do this season. But we can't rely on just a couple of players. Everyone needs to be doing it better. And the United board need to understand that if they want to get back to winning ways that the fans do, then they need to understand the way of the fans. But I don't think they're fans of United. I think they're just money orientated. They want the money, they want the shares, and that's it. And until the board changes, Mourinho might as well sit down. We might as well sit down and take the L, as you say, because we're not going to get anywhere. We're not going to get anywhere at all, and it's just so frustrating from a person that supported United since I was 7 years old. My dad before me, my granddad before me, and like you, it's more like a family orientated thing. United is like a family football team, and it's not like that anymore. It just isn't, and it's just so money orientated. Yeah, we're the richest club in the world, but I mean, you've got Real Madrid throwing money around at the minute in time. They do it every other season or so. I don't know if you've heard the comment from Mbappe. Mbappe was, which I'm quite happy about, from a 19-year-old. He seems to got his head screwed on, but he came out in an interview and he said, he was asked about going to Real Madrid this season. He said, no, I've got a contract with PSG. I'm happy at PSG, and that's it. That's final. I'm staying at PSG.
Yeah.
Now, if all the other players would actually come out and be like him, then there wouldn't be any of this rumour mongering and et cetera, et cetera. But, we just have to wait and see, I suppose, and see what happens now. But 3 weeks left of the transfer window. I'm not hopeful of getting anyone else through the door. I'm really not. I don't understand why we don't move fast in the transfer window. I just think the board don't back Jose, and they're just money orientated. And until the board changes, it won't make a difference what manager we had in. I think it would just be exactly the same. And in a way, I feel sorry for Jose.
He just doesn't.
I mean,
I'll have to take another call, Mark. But it's been a fantastic one. But and please do call in again, and I'll sort of summarise what my thoughts are on once you're gone. But thanks for calling in, pal.
Cool, no problems at all. Thanks a lot, Mark.
Thanks, Mark.
Cheers, mate.
Really good call there. Please do drop a like on the video there. I mean, I do agree with Mark. I do agree on the Mourinho thing. I mean, I back Mourinho, and some people wonder why I do, but I do feel sorry for him because not really. I think he contributes a lot to it himself, but he's not Sir Alex Ferguson. He can't play this situation right. He hasn't got the fans like Sir Alex did, so he's got to back the board, but the board aren't going to back him. And I read something today, and it was spot on. If Manchester United had finished fifth, we'd have spent about 250 million because they want to be back in the top four. They want the Chevrolet deal. They want the Adidas bolt-ons. You've got to be in the top four. So United have always spent big when we've not been in the top four. When we are in the top four, it's never as big. XB Roughneck says the board doesn't back Jose. Have you seen how much we spend on salary? Ibra, Lukaku, Bale, Alexis, Lindelof, Matic. How about coaching the players? I'll come back on that one in a minute. And James Howell says one of the differences between us and the cross-town rivals, we have major holes to fill for a starting 11. They are filling in depth for the bench. James Howell, you've sort of answered my answer to XBR Roughneck, who's saying that Mourinho's had enough. It's very easy. I don't even need to go to town on this one. Jose Mourinho inherited one world-class player, and that was David De Gea. Pep Guardiola inherited about 4 or 5. De Bruyne, Aguero, Silva, Company. Who else? He inherited quite a few players. He's then spent £200 million more than Jose as well. So you can say that Jose spent a lot, but he's got more holes to fill. He didn't inherit anywhere near what City did, and he spent £200 million less. So, that's the end of the argument as far as I'm concerned. I think Mourinho's done, on paper, quite well with what he's done. Second place in his second year, that's progression. But how's he supposed to deal with a team that's 20 points clear when they inherit a better squad and they get what they want? I mean, that's the simple answer, isn't it? You can like it or you can lump it, I suppose. But that's what my answer would be to that. I think this is Paul. I tried to get him on last week, but he couldn't. Hello, Paul. Can you hear me?
Hi, Mark. You all right?
Yeah, not too well. Yeah. I'd say I'm everyone's seen my video from Saturday, and I'm probably a little bit like the previous caller there, Mark. I mean, I'm just a little bit. I think we are going to do business, Paul, but I don't think you can do a lot of business in 3 weeks. We should have done more by now.
Not enough to win the title, Mark. Unfortunately, if I'm being honest. I mean, it's a tricky situation. I agree with the previous caller about the board, but what we got to understand is we've had 5 years of turmoil, and we got 3 different squads put together from 3 3 years of Van Gaal and Moyes, trying to backtrack out of that with money is very difficult, considering we sold everybody LVG bought, and we were still only left with Alex Ferguson's squad. David Moyes didn't buy anybody, and Alex Ferguson left an ageing squad. So, I mean, if you break it down, if you have a look at our starting selection at the moment.
Well, the back four is virtually Sir Alex, isn't it?
Sorry?
The goalkeeper in the back four is virtually Sir Alex Ferguson's team.
Well, we've tried to. We had Moyes. We tried to reverse from Moyes with LVG. We had LVG. We're trying to reverse from LVG to Jose Mourinho. So, after 5 years, we're back to where we were 5 years ago. If you look at it, look at the players we're trying to get rid of. Look at the players we've got. I mean, all we're trying to do is just get rid of different players for the same reason. Darmian, Blind, not good enough. Valencia's getting old. Jones is small and still in there. I mean, Phil Jones. I mean, how are we ever going to win anything with Phil Jones? Ashley Young, how long did we want rid of him for? And now suddenly he's on the wing and he's fantastic, according to some people, which, you know, he does a job. We need more than doing a job, unfortunately. Now, Jose Mourinho knows that. He knows the squad he's got. I also agree with the caller. He plays a certain style of football because he realises that the talent and the quality that we have isn't what he needs. Now, Jose, I think, still could get better out the players he's got, and he doesn't develop anybody. Nobody under Jose Mourinho in 2 years, in my opinion, has gotten any better, and a lot of people have got worse. He has favouritism. He'll freeze people out on one bad performance when other people can have 10 bad performances in a row and they'll still be in there because he trusts them and he thinks they'll work hard and they'll run through brick walls. He's got, you know, Jose's got his own way of doing things, but Christ, we got a job on our hands, Mark. Have a look at it. Have a look at every position. We got Valencia. He's getting old. He used to be fantastic, but he's still a converted winger. We got Delo coming in. He's not going to turn it on straight away. I wish he would, but I don't think he will. We got Smalling and Jones are the trusted centre backs. We want both of them gone. Ashley Young, he's our left back, first choice. We want him gone. Herrera, is he really good enough? You know my opinions on Herrera. I think he's absolute bobbins, but is he good enough? Pogba, underperforming under Mourinho. Brilliant for France. Is that Mourinho's fault? Lukaku up front, but has he got any service? Because our midfield's not good enough. Mata's getting old. Martial play, he wants to sell him. On the right-hand side, we haven't got anybody. I mean, it's endless. So how much money do we need to throw at this squad to be able to get to where, like Man City are, Chelsea are? They've got quality, solid players in positions where they're meant to be. We're shuffling people about trying to fill holes. Still after 5 years of Alex Ferguson leaving. So basically my point is the bigger picture. We've got a huge job on our hands and we're acting like Liverpool in terms of we're buying as fewer players as possible to keep relevant. We're acting like Arsenal in terms of we're letting contracts run down and people getting the upper hand on us. Sure. I think there's two others that have got a year left on their contract, which are just going to fuck off.
In that boat as well.
Exactly.
As well.
We're getting mugged off. We're changing our manager every 2 years, like Chelsea, and you know, and this is what we rip the piss out of all these clubs for. And we want to spend an absolute ton of cash to try and catch up, which is Man City. So, you know, it's difficult to fire shots off at people, and at the moment, I think we're in a hell of a sort of difficult position. So I do feel sorry for Jose in that respect, but he still plays shit football and he could do better.
Well, SB, I'm just going to give you a minute while I just come back at you there, but SB has said, all very true, but how do you solve it? So you think on that for a minute, but I'm just going to say that you mentioned the word there, the L word, and Liverpool, and unfortunately I am old enough to remember Liverpool being good in the late 80s and then going into a really bad 30 years without a title, which I've loved. But there are, unfortunately, parallels there where Liverpool spent a lot of money. I remember in the early 90s, they bought people like Mark Wright, Phil Babb. Phil Babb was like $3.5 million a couple of years after we'd just broken the record for Roy Keane at 3.6. So that shows you Liverpool was spending a lot of money when they had like Roy Evans and Souness and everyone like that. They spent a lot of money, but they just couldn't get it right. And there are echoes of what United are doing now. Change the manager every couple of years, spend a load of money, end up just with a squad full of deadwood that's not good enough. And they're still not recovered from that. But I was on the train with a Liverpool fan this morning and they said to me, you know what? You know, they know I'm a United fan, and they were like, you know what, you're in trouble next year, and we're just going to absolutely annihilate you. And I was like, oh yeah, whatever. And they were like, Salah, Firmino, Mane, we're already sorted up front. We know our system. We've just added two really good midfielders in Fabinho and Keita. Henderson's had a decent World Cup. You know, we've already got people who are coming back from injury like Lallana. We've got Shaqiri now as well. We'll get Fekir. He says we've sorted this defence out. The goalkeeper's a bit weak, but we've got a great team next year and we know what we're all about. What have you got? And I tried to defend it and I said, well, you know, we've got a couple of new coaches and we've got Fred. You know, how do you solve it, Paul?
I haven't got the answers. I can just bring up the problems. And I only wanted to bring them all up because, I mean, it's unsolvable at the moment. It doesn't matter how much money we throw at it.
I mean, even if you drop Gareth Bale in there, which I still think could happen, but I've got to be honest, even if you throw a Gareth Bale in there,
it doesn't make any difference.
What that doesn't fill the holes, it just polishes it. It's like, yeah, Gareth Bale's a great player.
Yeah.
You've still got a bad left back. You've still got Fellaini in the team.
Yeah, other teams are, you know, Liverpool are bringing Shaqiri in. If we bought Shaqiri in, we'd throw him in on the right wing as a first-team player. Liverpool are bringing Shaqiri in. He's a good player. They're bringing him as backup. You know, if anything all goes to rat shit, you've got Shaqiri. We're not at that stage. We need a first team. We haven't got a first team. We're trying to build a first team. Other team, Liverpool, Chelsea, I don't know, but Man City, they've got their first team. They're building on what they already have fundamentally.
They're going for the Champions League next year, aren't they? Let's be honest, they're going for the Champions League next year.
I don't give a fuck what they're up to. I just care that we need to... Sorry, I don't mean to swear, Mark.
No, but I mean from that point of view, I mean, I think they pretty much know they're going to be favourites to win the league and they probably are going to win it. And I think they're just improving their squad for a Champions League thing. I think that's their improvement. Ours is just trying to be... I don't know what we're going to do.
But this is where Jose Mourinho comes into it. He's not going to build a squad and set on a journey to make Man United great again and set them on the right path for future managers. Jose Mourinho is going to throw whoever he can in, and however much money at the problems that we have. He's an excellent manager of what he does, which is making it difficult for us to be beaten, and then we'll win because of that fact. Now, eventually, when Jose Mourinho leaves, which is probably going to be the end of the season, I'm trying to get odds on before Christmas. Where does that leave us? We're again, Mark. We're in no man's land. We got 3 squads pieced together with no particular way of playing football. Everybody's kind of lost in terms of what they should be doing. I mean, the caller before was saying we don't run at players anymore because Jose Mourinho wants to first. You think about where you're positionally acclimated to defend, and then once that's okay, then you can break out an attack, but make sure other people are covering. You know, that mindset. We said it's going to take 2 years to get. Jose said 2 years to get out of LVG mindset. 2 years. Now Jose Mourinho's mindset is similar ethically, not football wise, but ethically it is. So it's going to take another 2 years to get the players out of that mindset. By that time, do we need another squad? I mean, you know, you can see where I'm going with that. That's the point I was trying to make. It's just a huge, big mess. I mean, it's a real difficult situation. And dropping Gareth Bale in the middle of it with the side of Willian is, you know, just throwing players into a bit of a debacle. And hopefully, it's Jose Mourinho all over. Hopefully, the quality of the players that he purchases are going to win the game, not the way we play football and the way we present ourselves and the aggression that we show. So I didn't want to go on about Jose Mourinho today. I'll wait until the season starts and base it on how we do. But yeah, in terms of the club and the global bigger picture, I think it's a difficult situation. And the board don't want to win trophies. They want to get Champions League football, and they want to be fundamentally financially solvent. That's their main focus. So that does not help either.
All right, Paul. Well, good call as ever, and thanks for calling in.
Cheers, buddy.
Cheers, pal. I'll speak to you soon.
Always a pleasure. Take it easy.
Ta-ra. Yeah, I mean, look, I was just thinking there, I mean, about a solution, and you know, I hope it doesn't come to this. I hope next season we can be competitive and win the league. I think we should be with Manchester United. But if it did go wrong and Pochettino got the job or the class of '92 got the job, I still think, whatever you think about Jose Mourinho, we'd still be in the same boat. You know, if the money's not given up, the money's not given up. And Jose Mourinho is a checkbook manager. His whole career he's been a checkbook manager. So if he can't get the money out of the board to go and do a proper job, then what chance has anybody else got who's not really a checkbook manager? And I think someone from the class of 92, you know, 3 or 4 of them could come in and say, this is how we're going to do it from top to bottom. We know what the club's all about. But we've gone past that now. We've gone past the foundations of it. I mean, that's great, but we need results. We need identity. And the squad is such a mess. It's such a mess. I mean, Daley Blind was going to Ajax nearly a week ago. He's still not gone. I know he's going to go, but again, it's such a long, drawn-out affair. What are we doing? What are we doing? Are we trying to put buyback clauses in there? Are we trying to get performance-related things in there? Just get the deal done and go and focus on something else. Now, Ed Woodward's not gone on the US tour, so I do think we will sign players. I'm pretty sure of it. But it's not an inspiring time at Manchester United. And, you know, the transfer window obviously is a factor in that, but there's still 3 weeks to go. But I think what's happening is, and maybe the board and maybe the club haven't got their eyes open to this, but I think a lot of the problem is because there's still a hangover from last season. There's still a hangover from last season, and there's not enough positivity around about next season. Anyway, we've had some really good calls so far, so please do drop a like on the video. I'm going to take another call, but do drop a like on the video for our callers because it's all about them tonight. Hello, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello, how you doing? Hello?
Hello.
Hello? Bloody Skype's playing up again. Let me just take a few live comments and I'm just going to close it and open it again and see if it works. This sometimes happens because we start to get a lot of callers and we've had some great callers, so do drop a like on the video. Mourinho's not the problem, it's Woodward and the Glazers, says David Harwood. Jose loses his mojo because Woodward isn't doing his job right. I don't think we're going to sign anyone else. Oh, sorry, that was from Eric Ross. Maymaker says, I don't think we're going to sign anyone else, Mark. I'm normally optimistic, but I can't see it, sadly. I'm convinced we will sign more players. I mean, you can be negative, you can be concerned, but I am convinced we're going to sign. I actually think we're going to sign Gareth Bale and Alexandro, which I think will excite a lot of people. I do think we are going to sign players. I think that Ed Woodward not being on the US tour is a big giveaway about that. I do. I have to believe it because, I mean, at the end of the day, if we just sign Willian and that's our summer, Fred, Willian, Dalot and a third choice goalkeeper, what a joke. I'd say we've almost gone backwards if that happens. And I'm still not convinced that the Martial thing is sold. Can't we buy Koulibaly, says Sapates. Well, Manchester United can buy anybody, can't they? Apart from Ronaldo, he's gone. But Jose in, Woodward out, says Man United. And that Sevilla game is the reason for the start of this, says Jive Josh. I think you're right. I think there is still a hangover from last season. Tyrone Williams says it's hard for the board to back him with so many players that need to be sold first. Yeah, and there is the other side of that. You could have a board here that has a mentality that we've already backed him quite a lot. Alexis Sánchez, highest paid player in the Premier League, has been atrocious for 5 months. You know, maybe they want to see a little bit more from what's there. But that doesn't help us as the fans because we fall victim to that. Maybe the board are having a hard line with Mourinho and saying we're not giving you any more money. And actually, that's quite a good point from Tyrone. In fact, it's a very good point because a lot of you don't want Mourinho as manager, but then you're moaning about us not spending money. Well, the board might look at it and go, well, maybe we're not totally sure whether Mourinho's the right man. We've spent a little bit of money on him. Let's see what he can do next season. Because if we give him another 200 million, what a waste that is if we have to sack him and he's got players then that the new manager doesn't want. So it swings and roundabouts. For me, I can moan about the lack of money being spent because I want Mourinho to be the manager. But you lot can't, I'm afraid. You lot, if you don't want Jose in, I think you've got to be a little bit more pragmatic, which is a Mourinho word. Martin, can you hear me?
Yes, I can, yes.
How you doing, pal?
I'm fine. Apologies in advance. This is probably going to be a bit controversial, but here goes.
We like that.
I don't the predicament we're in now. I don't blame Jose Mourinho. I don't blame Louis van Gaal. I don't blame David Moyes. There's one person I blame, and that's Sir Alex Ferguson. And I'll say why. Think back to 2008 when we won the Champions League. Did we improve? No. The year we sold Ronaldo, Ribéry left France for Bayern. Benzema left France for Real. Were we even in for either of them? No. Who did we get? Valencia and Owen. The 2011, the year we got torn apart by Barcelona in the Champions League final. Who did we go and sign? Phil Jones and Ashley Young. at the end of the day, the signings have been the signings even back then were atrocious. There's all this rubbish about no value in the market. And now this may be hypothetical, but I think if we'd signed those players, better players back then, we'd have won the league, would have beaten City in that cup semi-final, would have won the league in 2012. None of the players at City would have gone to them because they'd still be waiting for that first trophy in 40 years. We had a chance to be the kid with the magnifying glass of the sun and the bug. City with the bug. We were the kid with the magnifying glass and the sun, and we threw it away by this nonsense of no value in the market and not improving a winning team. And I say history has repeated itself. If you think about it, before Mansour, City's best memory was probably Dennis Law's back heel. Why did that happen? Because you didn't improve the team. Because I think it may have been Lewis Edwards back then didn't improve the team in '68 after winning the European Cup. History has repeated itself again and again. We do not improve the team when we get complacent when we're successful. We do not improve the team when we have the chance. And this is what the aftermath is. This is why we've been so far for so long, because we didn't improve the team when we had the chance, and all the other teams have got up to the level we were at in 2000. Well, after winning getting to back-to-back Champions League finals. I think in 2011, Sir Alex said Barcelona will never tear United apart in the Champions League final. He was right. We'll never get to another final the way things are going.
I'll tell you what, Martin. I think you're right, and a lot of people are saying, "Oh, that's controversial," but some people are now saying they agree. But I would shift. I mean, I would shift it away from Sir Alex Ferguson, because I actually think there is a recurring theme here. Who was in charge when Sir Alex Ferguson wasn't spending the money in 2008? It was the Glazers, and I think Sir Alex Ferguson was the best. He's the best sports manager there's ever been, and he can win a title with Anderson and Cleverley. We never had, after Michael Carrick, we never signed a decent midfielder, and that was 2006. But Sir Alex Ferguson still won about 4 titles between then and when he retired. And you're right, I wouldn't blame Ferguson. I would again blame the board. They don't release the funds. We've got the money, but they don't release the funds. But Ferguson could win a title on a shoestring. I don't think you can anymore, because everyone else is spending too much money. Mourinho, I don't think Sir Alex Ferguson could win the title with this team against what Man City are doing.
No one could. The game's changed. There's too much. Obviously they've just gone blowing everyone out of the water with the money. But at the end of the day, because I'm not 100% sure, but I'm 99. I'm fairly certain when we signed this deal with Adidas, there was some clause in the club now get a percentage of the money they make from the shirts. So at the end of the day, the fans are putting the money into the club. Why aren't they spending it? Yes, I can see the businessman, but the thing that we need to think is a lot of all these major sponsors that keep coming up with, a lot of them are in the Far East. The Far East football fan is very different from here. They are, for want of a better word, the equivalent to pop groupies. They'll support a team because such a player plays for that team. Eventually, this is all going to come back on the Glaziers if they don't start bringing those world class players in. All these. I don't like to use the word because it's condescending, but like I said, in the Far East, a lot of the Far East culture is they support the clubs because who the player plays for.
Well, there's a lot. I'll just jump in there and defend you, Martin, because you are right. We get a lot of people on the United stand who support United from all over the world, and they are proper United fans. But I know what you mean. Look at what's happened with Juventus. Then those people aren't suddenly Juventus fans because they love the club. It's Ronaldo. Yep. They're following Ronaldo. And I remember when we were in for James Rodriguez, we would have had a lot of people supporting Manchester United because of James Rodriguez from South America. There are people who follow players. It's a sort of probably something over the last certainly decade. If a player goes and Ronaldo is the prime example of that.
Yeah, I think it probably started when Beckham went to Real Madrid, because they made the money back inside a week from his shirt sales. Because I know when I say how with Beckham, I think it's about a couple of months after, about a week after United went to, a couple of weeks after United went to toured the Far East. I was in Singapore, and we visited the hotel the club stayed at. I'm not going to advertise the name of the hotel, but we visited the hotel the club stayed at. The hotel was telling me that they were now charging people 10, 15 times the rate for a room because it was a room Beckham stayed in. That's the power that's the power these marquee signings have. And if the Glazers want to keep these Japanese noodle suppliers, Japanese tire suppliers putting the money in, eventually they are going to have to spend that money on the squad.
Yeah, definitely. Well, Martin, I've thoroughly enjoyed your call. I love the fact how you can just delve into history and just pull it out like it's from your sock drawer. It's really informative. And you know what? I don't think it was controversial. I don't blame Sir Alex, but I think you're right about... I remember those years. I used to get... I mean, if people think it's frustrating now... 10 years ago, it was so frustrating. We'd get linked to all sorts of midfielders, and all we wanted was a midfielder, and we never get one. And we were like, oh, we're not going to win the league. We're not going to win the league. Look at what Chelsea are spending. Look at this, look at that. And he'd go and do it. Sir Alex would do it with players that really weren't good enough, because he was brilliant. But he was very good at playing the Glazers whilst keeping the fans on side. And unfortunately, Jose isn't.
No, I don't. I think, to finish off, I was talking to some people on social media after your video on Saturday, and I said, it's going to go one of two ways. We're either going to be competing or we're going to be out of the title race by Christmas. If it's the latter, I can see Jose walking. All I can say is sit back, fasten your seatbelts and enjoy the ride.
And Martin, I mean, by all means, I should do this to everyone. If you are on social media, obviously you're somebody who has a little bit of a chat with people. What's your Twitter account?
Oh God, it's at Travel Guru.
At Travel Guru. Thanks for calling in, pal, and I'll speak to you again soon.
Cheers, bye bye.
Ta-da! Fantastic, absolutely fantastic calls again tonight. Please do drop a like on the video for all of our calls, because they've been absolutely fantastic, which is what I totally and utterly would expect from you lot. Matt Gordon's left as a contribution as well. Do you think our boring style of play will change? Well, I think Carrick and McKenna are surely going to make a change, but it's not. He ain't that bloody magician McKenna, is he? Or the one who gets in your head. What was his name? I forget his name now. There used to be a bloke who could hypnotise you called McKenna. I think it was Paul McKenna. I mean, he's not in. He can't work miracles. You still need the quality of play. I mean, the reality is, my personal opinion is, and I'll give you mine because it's a Skype show and everyone else is having theirs. My personal opinion is that this summer so far has been a disaster, and I think it was actually Paul who called in a few months ago and said the problem is with so many things are going wrong for United now that we're all just becoming so apathetic to it. I mean, that Fellaini new contract was a joke. I've sort of moved on from it because we have to, but he was bloody there a week before the end of the season saying the club's made a right big mistake, publicly making us look stupid. Absolutely made us look stupid. Clearly went all round Europe trying to get a better deal, and then we sign him up. And that's on Mourinho. I mean, I think that's a disgrace. But because he's had a couple of games in the World Cup that he's quite good now, everyone's like, oh, I like Fellaini again. When he signed the contract before the World Cup, oh, I'm going to boo him. He's a disgrace. He's made us look an idiot. And that's we go from one drama and then we get used to it. And then there's another drama. Oh, we're not going to get Sandro. He's going to PSG. Oh, God. Oh, Ronaldo's free. Oh, he's gone to Juventus. And we just go from one major disaster in a footballing transfer sense to another. And I don't know. Worst case scenario, I think we'll end up with Willian. And we could lose Martial. But would anybody be surprised if Anthony Martial leaves Manchester United now? Because we've had so many things going wrong. It's crazy. Please do drop a like for everyone who's called in. I also just want to say as well, we have got our first watch along of the season starting on Thursday, early hours of Friday morning UK time. I think it's like 3:00 in the morning. So I will be up, and don't want any medals for it, because I know a lot of you lot during the normal season when we're in the UK and we're watching a game at 3:00 in the afternoon, a lot of you around the world are getting up at 1:00, 4:00 in the morning. So it's no hardship for us to do it for the US tour. Really excited about it. So make sure you set your alarm clocks, or if you are in a place where it's a good time, we will be live, of course, for Manchester United versus Club America watch along in the early hours of Friday morning. And then I think we've got another one on Sunday night against, I forget who it is. It's another of the American clubs anyway, but Phoenix, isn't it? I think. But lots and lots to look forward to. Jared says it's going to be great. Thomas O'Brien says it's a very negative channel. Oh, bye, Thomas. Sorry for that. I'll just say this. Look, those are people calling in. What has people got to be positive about at the moment is what I would say. I hope it's going to change, but look, people are entitled to their opinion. Be positive in the comments. Somebody phone in and be positive. You know, I think it's just the mood at the moment, isn't it? Andrew Valence says time to get green and yellow scarves out again. You see, thanks for the contribution, Andrew, but I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the green and yellow scarves. I don't agree with Mark at the start, who said, you know, everyone should stop putting their money in and everything like that. I don't agree with it, because quite simply, even if every United fan was balloted and said, right, none of you is allowed to watch United, buy tickets, buy any merchandise, I'm still going to watch them. And that's why they've got us. They've got us like that. So, and, you know, scarves and that, I just think it isn't for me. Everybody's got their opinion, though, but it isn't for me. I don't think we'll get rid of the Glazers. I don't think we will. I mean, the only thing I'm hoping for is that they just change their mentality and start spending some of the money that they've taken out of our club. I mean, what a deal it was for them. We weren't in debt, and we sold ourselves to somebody who bought us on debt. I mean, what a golden ticket that was for the Glazers. We were not in debt. We were a well-run business. We were a well-run football club. And they were allowed to buy us and put us into hundreds of millions of pounds of debt. And they're not Manchester United fans. I mean, and they've turned us into a great business, but they're still not, you know, over a decade later, they still haven't paid the debt back. They just keep resurfacing it and reservicing it and pulling the money out. And it's such a shame. But, you know, we're the victims of that. But what I would say about this is, look, whether you're Jose Mourinho in, like me, or you're Jose Mourinho out, like Andrew Ellis, I think this transfer window's been a good point. Even if we get some signings in, which I think we will, I still think it's been a good lesson that it's not always about the manager. Yeah, the style of football's not great, and he has got to improve things, and he needs to try and get engaged with the fans better. But it's not all about him. Jose will have given a list to Woodward, and if that doesn't get delivered like it didn't last year, then what's Jose supposed to do? He's still going to be stuck using players that maybe he probably would have liked to have got rid of a couple of years ago. I mean, there was that story that he wanted to get rid of 3 or 4 more players last summer, but wasn't allowed to do it. So you just don't know what he's facing at Manchester United. You really don't. But I think it's going to be interesting. You know what? The US tour means very little, because most of these players are going to just fill seats. The bums on seats, because we can't take our first team. Very few of these players will be anywhere near the first team next season. I'm going to talk tomorrow when I do the Club America preview at midday about who I want to be part of the team next season. But for me, the exciting thing about the US tour is just seeing some of these young, exciting players that I really like in a United shirt. And Mourinho's going to have to look at them. And if they perform and then he ignores them, he's just putting another nail in his own coffin, isn't he? Because if Gomez and Chong and Pereira and Fosu Mensah have a fantastic tour and then we don't see them next season and we play badly, then everyone's going to remember the tour and say, well, you know, Lingard was brilliant on the tour last season, absolutely superb. I remember Jesse Lingard on tour last year. He was absolutely amazing, and then he had a good season. So I don't want people to say, oh, just because you have a good tour doesn't mean you're a good player. I mean, Jesse Lingard was brilliant on the tour last season, absolutely superb. And then we saw that form. It took him till Christmas, but we did see it. So, I just hope some of these players really turn up. Breach69, I'm glad I saw you. Breach69 won the Super Brew World Cup Predictor League. So Breach69, big applause to him. We did a World Cup Super Brew Predictor League that started before the World Cup and ended. And it was just for the World Cup, and I think it was actually through the That's Football channel that we did it. We are going to do a Super Brew Premier League one on here as well, and when we've got that ready, we'll put the link in the video description, and it is free to play. But well done to Breach69, because he won it. Anyway, drop a like on the video. We had some really good calls tonight. I am going to do another Perisic. I am going to do another Perisic plus Rebic, says Sabotage. Oh, God. I'm talking about Rebic on the Transfer Daily tomorrow. So, I've got some strong opinions about him. 7 a.m, that'll be up. But do drop a like on the video. We are going to do more Skype shows over the next few weeks because they're lit. There's so many of you wanting to call in, and I only got through about 4 tonight, and that's not good enough. So I'll definitely do another one. I might do it on Thursday night, actually, because we've got the match in the early hours. So Thursday night would be a good point to do it. Thanks everyone for watching. Keep getting involved. Subscribe if you're new in the bottom right hand corner. Drop a like for the callers tonight. That's who it's for. And I just want to say thank you to everybody. Mark Allen says, breaking news, another day goes by without any activity in the transfer market. It's becoming the norm. Anyway, thanks everybody. Speak to you all in the morning on the Transfer Daily. And also, tomorrow lunchtime, keep an eye out. Manchester United versus Club America preview. First one of the season. Really looking forward to that in a new studio. See you all soon.